Hello, everyone. My name's Dion Morales, your host of the Gold Squadron podcast. And wait, I messed that up. This is episode. I'm wrong. I started the stream intro. Try again.
Take two.
Take two. I haven't had to do that in a while. Oh, I forgot to comb my hair after my shower. What else? This is episode 140 of the Gold Squadron podcast. I'm your host, Dion Morales, and today I'm joined by Marcel, too legit to quit, Monsanto.
Oh, you got to do it the right way. Too legit to quit.
Will,
I got to do the hammer dance.
Will, today is the end of the Republic, the end of a regime that acquiesces to disorder.
I'll hail the new republic. Or the first order.
Hegwood.
Ruined.
Exactly.
And Ryan, proud of my tradition. Staniszewski.
Yes, be proud of the tradition. It is upon you.
All right, everybody. So today's episode is all about you guys. We asked you guys for questions. Hi, honey. We asked you guys for questions on Patreon and Discord and Facebook. So we're going to try to get through as many as possible. So super excited about that. If there are any rule questions, we're going to hold off on those, mostly because they take research. This is more, we're looking for more of the opinion-based questions that you guys ask. So we'll be sticking to that. As for announcements and news, this upcoming weekend, we are streaming the Texas System Open, specifically, I think it's Fort Worth, right? Fort Worth, Texas, a.k.a. Dallas, you know, that part of the country, within a country there. And we're going to be there Saturday and Sunday all day. So super excited to be there. We got more prizes to give away. By the way, anybody who was watching Las Vegas, especially if you're watching the final, you realize that I forgot to give away the District Foundry tray. So that means I have 2 District Foundry trays to give away, and we're going to give away one at the end of the day on Saturday and the other one on the end of the day on Sunday. Other news. So this is a little bit technical, but I want to give you guys some future sight. So our podcast hosting service, as of late, has been kind of upsetting me for some back-end things, specifically the fact that I got charged an extra about $400 today for no reason, not sure why, no explanation, and I back and forth in emails and haven't gotten our money back. So we're probably going to be switching podcast providers here pretty soon. I'll put out an announcement when that happens. My plan is, and I've already talking to another service on how to actually get that a smooth transition. There's going to be some bumps. Like if you use the iTunes podcast app, we should be fine. But if you use some of the other services, there might be just a little bit of a skip or a little weird thing that happens. Some of them you'll have to like click a link to refresh it. We'll get all that sorted out. Of course, if you watch on Facebook or watch live, it's not going to affect you whatsoever. But want to give you guys that heads up because yeah, I'm upset. We'll put it that way. And this hasn't been the first issue that I've had with them, and I'm done. Put it that way. As for a Patreon update, guys, Will, Ryan, Marcel, super excited about this. I have commissioned, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 different artists, okay? 8 different artists with a project, okay? Now, of course, these cards won't all come out at the same time. We'll spread them out, but the whole idea is battle in 2 perspectives, okay? So we did this for the first time with our Vulture and Ahsoka, okay? Now, there's a couple of different briefs that I gave people. We got mixes of unique pilots and generics, all kinds of things, and all these artists have a little bit different style. I'm super excited to see what we get back, and as we do, we'll be revealing, but I wanted to give you guys that heads up. As for some of the upcoming Patreon swag, as for the sticker, we're going to be doing the GSP letter logo. So the first sticker, GSP sticker we gave out was just the helmet. And now we're going to do the GSP logo. Then for the poster that we're giving away, the print for our top group, we're going to be doing the Vulture art. So that should be pretty cool. And as for some of the other cards, we'll wait. We won't spoil that quite yet. Yeah, once we get them in, I'll show them. I'll show them off for sure. Super excited about that. Now we're jumping right into it. We're 5 minutes in, and we have basically an hour and a half here of different discussion points and questions. The plan is to each of us will take a question in order to get through as many as possible. Now, of course, gentlemen, if you have a burning question that you're like, I have to jump in here, feel free to do it. But we'll start to try to keep it organized, one per person, and then we just kind of go there. Some of them are serious, some of them are memeable, and that's fine. We're here to have a good time. So if you asked a question, thank you. And if we don't get to your question, we will. If you're a patron and we don't get to your question, you will receive a written answer. So we'll do the best. Take care of everybody. We got people on Discord. We're gonna have a great time. All right. So we're starting with our Patreon questions, and Will, you get the first question.
Okay. This comes from John Bruns, and it says, "If I'm bringing a swarm, should I bring a bid no matter what, or hope and pray I don't see other same initiatives?" His example is the Focho versus other I-1 swarms. Well, the trick is with the Focho, you can't bring a bid. So there's problem number one. The other problem is that you need to, I guess, assess if you did have the choice, what would you prefer? I would say a majority of people flying these low initiatives will actually want to take initiative so that they can block all of your I-1s. Vultures and Pinata droids get a little wonky about when they want initiative. I forget what we decided on. What did Vultures prefer for a Pinata? You help me out, guys.
For the Pinata
like
droid?
having a bid or not having a bid?
Yeah, Vultures want to defend first and then shoot.
It's always that discussion of like, do you want to have your calculates pop and return fire better, or do you want to block so you deny their calculate actions better? Like, that's a real discussion, I think.
Yeah, I think if I was the Vulture player flying the Pinata TA-175, I think I'd want to make sure that I have those calculates for offense. So I'm going to defend first, attack second. So I would pass the initiative off. But I guess I'm blocked then. I don't know. That's going to be tough. I was looking at other lists that feature I-1s. The Seer Swarm, we saw Paulson running, is at 200, but you could just drop a strut off of it to get it to 199. I would say you might want the bid against the Focho. It's surprisingly good, very hardy.
I like that. I like the definition. So that's a hardy swarm right there.
Yeah, it's not beefy. It'll fill you up. It's good. It's like chewy. It's gonna take you a bit to chew on that. I wouldn't say no matter what. I don't think you necessarily need the bid. I've flown low initiative generics for years without a bid. Never cared. So I would say you probably don't need to start now, unless you are worried about the Vulture on Vulture. And then we're creeping down. I'm trying to think of Octocon got down to like 193 or something like that.
Yeah, he's serious about the bid. He's like hardcore about it.
Struts and Discord missiles off. I think he ended up with like 3 struts and 1 Discord or something crazy. He got a pretty significant bid on I-1 because of the mirror matches. So I would say in general, no. But if you are worried about Vulture specifically, I would start seeing what you can strip off those lists. But once again, my final example here, Focho doesn't need it, and Paulson's Seer Swarm doesn't need it. So probably not.
There you go. All right, next question. This is for Marcel.
All right. So this is coming from Chris, and it says, do you think Snapshot can still be a good card? He ran Snapshot at Snapshot Swarm at LVO, and although he got a lot of shots, he was wondering what he could have done better. And then he provided the list. He had 2 Phoenix Squadron A-Wings with Snapshot. He had 2 Gold Squadron Y-Wings with Snapshot, and he had a P5 with Snapshot and Leia. So a total of 5 ships with Snapshot. Do I think Snapshot? I think it's a little overcosted right now. I do think it can be good. Taking an extra shot is good. I think Foresight is obviously better because it gives you range 1, 2, and 3 with the ability to turn a focus to a hit, both during the bonus shot and as well if you use it. So it's got dual purpose. The regular Snapshot, I think the fact that you can't modify the dice and it's only 2 dice hurts a little bit, especially when it's 7 points. It's a lot of points. Now, in your particular list, when you had 2 A-Wings, 2 Y-Wings, and AP5, you've got 5 ships with Snapshot, which gives you a lot of coverage. But there are also ships that not one of them in particular is going to make anyone necessarily nervous about facing it. So I think so what can you have done differently? I think what somebody who wants to fly a Snapshot Swarm or a Snapshot based list can do to kind of spice it up a bit or beef it up a bit is add an actual threat on there. So I was playing around here, and what I came up with was with 3 Phoenix Squadron A-Wings, all of them with Snapshot. And again, they're good because they have initiative 1, and they're kind of tough to kill. So if with the 3 agility and being that they're initiative 1, they're typically going to move first and have a focus. And even against a swarm, like the way I built it out, it's at 195 or 194. Depends on what you choose. And then the heavy hitter at the end is Luke Skywalker with a proton torpedo, R2D2, and your choice of either Foresight or Sense. Sense is good because now you can block and you can also set up the snapshots. Foresight is good because if you're playing off that getting a bonus shot, now you've got a 4th ship that's getting a bonus shot. And again, Luke Skywalker with proton torpedoes is going to draw a lot of attention. It's definitely a heavy hitter, and with R2D2 it regenerating up to 3 times, it's going to be pretty tough to kill it. So again, I think it's still a little overcosted, 7 points, but if you really want to play off of it, I would do something like that where you have 3 snapshot carriers. In Scum, you can get snapshot carriers cheaper with the TIE fighters, and then augment it with some type of heavy hitter, whether it's a large base, Ketsu and a bunch of snapshots, or Luke with a bunch of snapshots, or Fen Rao with a bunch of snapshots, something like that. So
very cool. Yeah. Give us your opinion in the poll, 1 or 2. But we're going to be doing that for most of the questions here. Go ahead, Ryan.
I was going to jump in real quick. So a lot of people look at Snapshot and 7 points, and you multiply it a lot of times is a lot of points to invest in non-modified shots. I mean, do you think there's a chance we've been looking at it all wrong? Should Snapshot be included on maybe one of your ships that can take advantage of it? It's a super cheap way to get a type of veteran turret gunner effect. I mean, you're not modifying the shot, but most veteran turret gunner shots aren't unless you're investing into a named pilot. So can you put this on something cheap filler? I know Snapshot kind of loses some of its weight in a game if it's not multiplicative, but maybe we're missing out on it as a filling piece.
I think more than a filling piece. Sorry.
Go for it.
Well, let me just say. I think if you look at 1.0, Snapshot was pretty popular. 1.0 it was 2 points back then, which would be equivalent to 4 points now. What made it good back then, and the reason, because it was still range 1 and you couldn't modify, so the mechanic was a little bit different in the range, but it was the same in unmodified shots. And in 1.0, he was even harder to get damage in. So to your point, is as using it as a mechanic versus just relying on it as a bonus shot. When you saw it successful in 1.0, it was usually with R3, so handing out stress. So it wasn't the shot that you were looking for. You were looking to pass off the stress. Or the way that I was using it with the Triple Jump Masters with Operation Specialist, which at the time, if you miss a shot, then you can give every 2 focuses. You can hand off 2 focuses to anyone at a certain range. So I was using it as a action economy in order to pass off focuses to friendly ships. So I think that, and to your point, using it as a tool versus thinking of it as a way to cause damage. So you look at Seevor as a way to jam, and as a way to jam early on if it's important to get that jam off, as on Ketsu with the title, or on any other of one of those ships with the title, as a way to tractor when somebody gets in there. So things like, or even the initiative for I forgot the one that gets the bullseye in there.
Tirani.
Yeah, Tirani. Like something like that or even paired with the Karax fighter, Justero, that triggers, like as a way to trigger, if you get lucky, as a way to trigger a bonus attack. So things like that, I think, is where it fits in. But trying to spam it and think you're going to put off a lot of damage because you're spamming it is not probably the way to go, and it wasn't the way to go in 1.0 either, because that's not how it was used in 1.0.
I feel like a lot of people have memories, though, of like the 5 A-Wings. Right, the Rebel A-Wings that were carrying Snapshot and Crackshot and doing really, really well. But they had a pretty short window where they were really good. And I feel the whole spamming of Snapshot in general, I think, comes from the idea of that list. People remembering that, because usually from what I'm seeing is that. It's not new players that are trying to spam Snapshot. It's a lot of veteran players who are trying to reproduce that the success of that list at that time. Yeah,
but even that list, again, it wasn't the shot itself. It was what you could do with the shot. Which, with that list, it wasn't Snapshot. It was Snap Juke, specifically those 2 combined. And now, if you want to get Snap Juke, and Snap was 2 points, and then Juke was also very cheap. Now, if you want to do that, you got to put it at least on the initiative 3 on the Green Squadron, which is 34 or something. Then you need 7 for Juke, and at that point, you're basically putting a proton torpedo on them. So the cost doesn't allow you to do that anymore. But yeah, I get your point. But even in those A-Wing ones, it was the Snap Juke combined that gave you that additional, something extra than just a basic shot.
And the one filler piece that I found might actually be solid for Snapshot, and for people who are big fans of the Rebels TV show and who may have not seen the ship on the board a lot recently, the Rebel TIE Fighter, throw it on Sabine. She's got Supernatural-esque type ability with her reposition boost or barrel roll to get that Snapshot arc into a really interesting spot. 36 points total with Snapshot Sabine, and TIE Fighter shoots twice. Might not be all right.
All right, let's keep rolling here. So this question is for Ryan.
Sorry, I had to take a swig of water. All right, so from Kyle Jackson, we have, when building a list, how do we each determine if that list is quote unquote good? How many times will you play a list before deciding to modify something or scrap it altogether? So I think when building a list, and if you want to determine if something's good, you have to define 2 things. One, are you bringing just regular considered quality ships, whether it's the ship, the pilot, and what upgrades you want to put on it? Because normally when people go out to build a list, they're wanting to accomplish something by doing that. A certain goal in mind, like I want to do this combo, or I want to get set up this formation, or create this kill box in a certain way. And I think that's the second thing you need to answer. What are you doing? And once you figure those things out, you can then determine, like, okay, does what I put in this list create and accomplish what I want it to do? And that already, just in list building, will tell you if what you're trying to accomplish can be done in a valid manner. It's not like too wombo combo-y, this specific niche scenario gets this thing done. Like, it's got to be flexible, not always self-sufficient. Like, some lists need ships with each other to work out, but not so niche that it's not going to work. And then after that, when you put in the reps and the time, it's got to feel fun to play, honestly. If you're not having fun and you don't, and because a lot of people, at least for me, I like having fun with my lists because it helped me remember triggers, because I'm excited to have those triggers actually happen. Being a good list is fine. If you don't have fun with it, you're more apt to forget those things that you have to remember in a trigger-based list. Granted, you can still learn if you force yourself to learn a quote-unquote good or better list. And then if I decide to modify something, I tend to just like throw as many necessary upgrades that I want into the list, not just bombard it completely, but the things that I want to use to accomplish the goals of the list. And then I will start tailoring back a bit if I feel like I need to bid with certain aces if they're in it. And then just make sure I have an idea of litmus test type matchups. Right now in hyperspace, I need to make sure, does my list can it handle Boba Fett? How does it do against 5A? What'll happen if I go up against a Separatist swarm? Now I need to worry about a lot of first order fighters right now, like maybe not 8, but a lot of them. Like, people are messing with some combinations with the TIE BA. So find some litmus tests that you think are going to be in it. Now, it doesn't mean you have to beat all of them. There's not going to be a list that does that. But do you have a plan? Do you have the tools? And sometimes, are you willing to punt to that list and just say, you know what, if I see that matchup, sucks for me, but I do really well against all this other stuff. If I scrap it all together, it's because it hasn't performed well. It doesn't jive with me. Maybe I know it can be played better, but it just doesn't connect with me as a player. And you'll know it when you play. And just move on to something else. A lot of times, if you start building more and more lists, you'll be like, oh, I really want to go play that, but I've been trying this and I'm not sure if it's going to work. If you're already excited about the other thing, go try it out. Just do it.
Yeah, I agree. For myself, I know that I don't prepare for tournaments too often, but when it comes to like tweaking a list as you're going along, I really feel like even in like the first game, you're like, I want to try this. You realize pretty quickly some of the things that don't work, and I think that how you practice, if you're preparing specifically for a tournament, how you practice is really going to determine how efficient you can do it. So, for instance, if you and a practice partner are saying, like, all right, we're just trying to test these triggers for a list. Don't play full games. If you're working on openings and working on those type of things, or triggers with a certain pilot, if that certain pilot dies, just reset the game. Just go again. Just because you're trying to solve certain issues, have a plan going in, rather than being stuck. And also, I feel that a lot of people, they'll come up with something, whether it be like, I think this is a good idea, but you have to go in with it. It's like, I think it's a good idea. I think I might take it to a competitive event. But if you're in the I still need to figure out if it's good stage, you have to be willing to pivot and try something else and compare it to something. Also, of course, if you don't have enough samples, like, all right, so if it is just you and a buddy who are playing with each other, and you're constantly able to get your combo off on them, say, oh, this is amazing, this is the best, you might have to ask yourself, like, wait a second, maybe we should switch lists. You try it now and see if they can continuously get that off, because sometimes if you're just trying to test the list, it should be in multiple people's hands. Hopefully multiple people can make that work and show some proof of concept in that. All right, let's keep rolling. All right, Tantive for life says the hyperspace meta seems to be shifting to swarms with unnamed pilots with little to no upgrades in lists of 5 to 8 ships. What are the best tactics when bringing 2 to 4 ship lists? Stronger upgrades, fortifying with hull upgrade. With this being the case, is it still important to worry about the bid? I feel like there's a couple of questions in there. I'm gonna address part of it because I feel like they're trying to ask, is it safe to run 2 to 4 ships? I feel like that's the core of the of the question. I think it is, but you need to have. So I had put up a poll earlier. Maybe I can shift back to where it was, even though my face won't show. So what is the most powerful characteristic? Of course, your guys' opinion of a list. And I think a lot of people voted for 2, our second option here, passive mods. And I feel that with the less number of ships you have, the more number of passive mods you need to be competitive. So for instance, Boba Fett, right, is an absolute beast. He himself has passive mods. He's got the rerolls. He can take Maul and have the Force. I mean, he is a passive mods machine. But if you're loading up, I don't know what's a ship that doesn't have a lot of passive. You know, if there you go. If you're just like, oh man, here's my 100-point oddball, baby, let's go, right? It's not gonna work. You need you're gonna have, if you're fighting against swarms, you have a lot of shots coming in. You need to have modifiers for defense, and then you need to be able to make sure you take quality shots. So Tantive 4, I think that is what you really need to focus on there, and hopefully that answers your question. What do you guys think? Anything else you want to jump in there? No?
So I think while, yeah, we are seeing in hyperspace likely people experimenting with more generic since they went down. We already know Boba Fett is strong. There's plenty of Rebel lists that seem to be sitting somewhere around 3 to 4. If it's 3, it likely has a Falcon. Which is, you know, we saw Leia just come out. Lando's being experimented with. We have K2SO crew, just pretty good on him. And then we have the all-important 4-ship quality Rebel lists. Those B-Wings got strong. They're already, Braylon already strong, 10 Nub stronger. So, I mean, I don't think 2 to 4 is going away. 5 to 8, you know, we might sit the average at 4 still. We'll have to see.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next question. Will, I believe.
Yes. This is from Philip Pond, and he asks, what do you think will come out on top in the UK System Open in terms of the cut and overall?
Let's go ahead and just throw in Texas too, because it's happening the same weekend.
Right. And that's I guess my first question is, what is legal? Is the new products legal? Hot shots, the Baron Fireball, everything's legal.
Everything is legal.
Cluster mines.
Yep.
Yes.
Alex Watkins made it legal.
He made. I will make it legal.
Okay. So that really does open it up, because it really can be anything. But I think that because it's just, you know, we recently got the points changed, the ships are fairly new. There may be 1 or 2, you know, surprise standouts people have been theory testing, or not theory testing, but you know what I mean. Testing out, getting, you know, refining that meta staple. But as far as my wild predictions, the system opens are hyperspace, correct? That's the whole point of hyperspace now?
Yep.
Okay. So I believe I'm going to give, well, Force users. Can I just say Force users in general? You're going to see Force users on the top, and Vultures. But as far as factions, I think every faction can realistically make the cut. I don't think in hyperspace, probably almost every faction can make the cut. And I'm going to put let's see. If I was going to do bold predictions for it was not too bold. I mean, I'm
Hot takes, baby.
yeah. I would say hot takes. I mean, I'm actually gonna put it at Scum versus Rebels. With the new B-Wing configurations, they're really hot right now. And Scum has been, I think, doing pretty well in hyperspace. They got a lot of tools that they normally were using against extended ships in the past. So I think that they're going to be pretty strong. We'll see. We'll see if my faith in Boba can pan out. And like I said, we might see some surprises. I will say, we did those rankings a long time ago. Or not a long time ago, like 2 weeks ago or whatever.
Our way too early rankings?
Yeah, way too early rankings. I'll have to concede a point to Marcel. I believe I had First Order last, second to last. Now they're moving up.
We move them forward one place.
Yeah, one place. It's the Baron and the Focho. Really, it's just the TIE Baron, right? It's
a TIE BA. Yeah.
BA.
Yeah.
I keep calling it. Because see, I don't fly Von Rogue. I fly Hollow. So it's Hollow's TIE.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm gonna put my money. I'll put my money on Rebels versus Scum in the finals.
Cool. You know,
except in Texas, it's gonna be Vultures. Vultures versus Rebels.
You think the UK, the Europeans will get a little more creative with it?
Yeah, I don't think Europeans like Vultures.
Yeah, I'll be curious because part of it is, of course, there's going to be a reaction to what happened at the Las Vegas Grand Championship, right? Of course, it is a different meta, but we saw several hyperspace legal lists make it, right?
Did we?
Yeah, we B.A. Lindemood, right? His list was hyperspace legal with the Fangs and the M3A.
Crack shots.
He had crack shot? Oh, maybe. Sorry. Not quite. So, never mind.
I mean, those pilots were
the pilots are legal, at least.
Yeah. I mean, you can fly those. And actually, Litan is not a bad snapshot candidate either. I was actually looking at that as my hyperspace variant for that. She shoots, she either does damage or gets an evade token. So that's a pretty fun snapshot. But yeah, I think crack shots, I think were carrying a lot of the list. I mean, Seer Swarm is the prime example there, right? So we're gonna see who can punch through damage without crack shot. I think might be the biggest question right now.
Hashtag where's my crack shot?
Discord missiles, sir.
Oh well, we're not supposed to have auto damage in the game. Get out of here. You're not allowed.
Yeah, and Bulba's not a Force user.
Yeah. Yeah. When I said, yeah. Did I mention Force users around my hot takes?
Oh look, Maul Crew. Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Hot take. Well, not hot take. So quick prediction. I think Scum wins UK. They like Europe's apparently really likes Scum, and Ollie likes flying Scum, so can't go against the world champ.
Right. He's been on. So it's a Fen Rao and 3 Zealots, and Fen Rao has outmaneuver,
which I think is good tech against opposing Bobas. Get rid of that agility. And then in Texas, I'm gonna say Resistance.
Ooh. So that people can yell.
Hot take.
Is it? You got 5 A's, got really good quality ships. Someone's gonna find a way to put it all together. And
yeah, I'm gonna go the other way around. Resistance in UK and Scum in Texas.
Are you just betting on Bartosz? That's what you're doing.
I don't even know if he's going. I don't think he's
you're just putting. I'm putting money on this guy. Let's go. Is he playing? Doesn't matter.
Resistance on something because I said that they would take 3 or 4. I forgot how many I said.
You said 4 with 5 A's.
Okay. Right. Then they'll take both. Then Resistance at both.
Time will tell. It will be. I will say this much about this coming system opens. I think it is going to be what do I want to say? It's going to be eye-opening for a lot of people who question hyperspace.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting. We'll find out.
Oh yeah, people were thinking. I put them together in our poll, UK and Texas. People were thinking Scum. Scum has the lead, and looks like Resistance and First Order were tied for a close second there. Remember, guys, go ahead and participate in our polls as we answer these questions today. All right, who's up next? It's Marcel.
Yep, we got a question from Lou the Lunatic.
Who's in the chat? What?
Shout out. What is everyone's opinions on the Hot Shots and Aces pack? Anything else that should have been included? Anything that should not have been included, like being bad for the game? And he is a Resistance player, but feels that Rebels are the ones that deserved the new A-Wing pilots, not the Resistance. I actually, my opinion on Hot Shots is first and foremost, even looking what's in the pack and what the pilots and cards that came in it is, I just love the fact that they're starting to do that this is their first foray into like putting out a card only pack, and getting, before when they were doing it with like Rebel and like the Rebel Aces pack and the Imperial Aces pack, you were basically paying for the pilots, but then you also had to buy new ships and stuff like that. And at this point, we've got so many ships, at least some people that have been playing for a while, that I'm just happy that they're releasing cards and upgrades that are not connected to a plastic ship. Makes it cheaper and lets you get more value out of it. And as far as what I think, I actually like all the pilots. Some of them are better than others. I think some of them are going to have bigger impact than others. In my personal opinion, the two ships that are, or the two ships and one crew that are the standout for me is Numlum and the Jumpmaster. I think the Numlum and the Jumpmaster, we saw like the Sith Takers. I don't know if you guys were watching, but the UK had like their own, they call it the Sith Taker Opens, and Numlum was all over the place, including in the final with it was Numlum, Fen Rao, and something else. And then the other one is ZZ. ZZ's with Heroic and Advanced Optics, just really giving it a lot of damage output to be able to go in and constantly get 2 hits and then still end up with a token for defense. I think those two are the standouts. But as far as having something that's bad for the game, I don't think anything is necessarily bad for the game. I don't think anything in it was broken. I also don't mind the spread of how they distribute it, to the 4 factions that were not part of the last wave, to not Resistance, Republic, or Separatist. I actually thought all of it was good. Like all in all around, I don't have any complaints about it. Again, some ships will be better than others. Some upgrades will be better than others, and as they, move the points up and down, I don't think anything within that pack was necessarily broken per se. So yeah, I'm just excited. Let me bring this down a little bit more. Yeah, so I'm just excited the way it came out. Just excited to fly more Jumpmasters.
Jump.
Yeah. I put 4 of them on the table against you, Leon, last week, and I put 4 of them on the table earlier today at Fair Games, and it was fun.
Awesome. Let's keep it rolling. Actually, one thing I do want to note for this pack, I'm really hoping that that FFG considers it a successful release. Like, obviously they're a business and they want to see things that perform well, and I hope it performs well as a product, because I think it is one of the best ways to offer diversity in the game and to keep things from becoming stale without releasing ships. I love it. I love the concept. I don't think we'll ever get like 3 boxes like this at once again, but I think it's a great proof of concept, and I'm hoping that it keeps on rolling. All right,
so
Ryan.
I do have a couple things. that I think might be a little concerning. One's easy. It's point cost, so it can be alleviated. But I think ZZ arguably point cost could start with a 5. Like it could be in the 50s. ZZ is probably more undercosted than Lulo was when Lulo first came out. This is coming from someone who likes resistance. Right. I know, like I see this and I'm like, oh boy. Like normally when you have those turns where you have to boost or barrel and turn your arc and you don't get a mod, but now you just suddenly do as long as you get a shot defensively. It's pretty good. It's I5, really strong. At least I think ZZ should probably cost 46, because then when you take advanced optics, you become 50. Either way, that can be alleviated. A little mechanic one that might be a little feels bad, man, is if you put homing missile on Fifth Brother, the new TIE Advanced prototype pilot, because he can just add a crit by spending 2 force. If you back that up with a Palp Jendon shuttle and a couple other ships around, like guarantee hit with a homing missile plus a crit probably feels pretty bad. Like that's TLT feels bad. So keep an eye on that.
What's that one? I mean, it's spend 2 force to do what exactly?
Spend 2 force to add a crit damage to the result.
What? To the result?
To damage if the attack hits.
Okay, so
yeah, and technically the attack hits if homing missile gets it.
Okay, so they take the damage plus a crit.
Yep. Also, you would double crit with mag pulse.
Well, okay. Just with homing missiles, just dodge the 4 dice attack. It'll be fine.
Yeah, just dodge the 4 dice with a lock and 2 force. No problem.
Yeah, just dodge
actually, I don't think it's that much of a problem.
He can't spin the force, though.
I just think there's a chance it feels bad man levels of like 2 auto damage TLT style, right? Like not block, like you either take the 4 or you take 2, and taking 2 still feels bad.
Well, see, here's the thing: is that's not hyperspace legal.
Sure, and we're safe if you play hyperspace.
Yeah, there's a safe zone.
There may be an angry Bobo around, but that's okay.
He's so angry. He's turned to the dark side. He's so angry.
Awesome. I think Ryan, well, your question's up next, so go for it.
Oh, okay, all right. So from Stephen Dugwid, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. What or which rules do you think conveniently, in quotes, change given different scenarios? For example, revealing of the dial maneuver regarding its color and how cards do or do not affect the color. Should R4 be able to remove stress when the dial reveal color doesn't actually change? So this, I think, harkens to the ruling FFG gave about R4 and Kova and how that interacted, and how the reveal dial is the color that is revealed when rules are asking for a revealed result, instead of and wondering if that's the reveal dial, should it still count for reducing the difficulty for check stress step, or if you should remove stress? It's just FFG's decision on the game. They could have gone either way in terms of the R4 Kova ruling. There's a lot of different niche scenarios that can come up that I guarantee we'll find in the future. Take a look at the Fireball Coaxium Hyperfuel, and if you flip damaged engine or damaged sensor ray from the crit that you take from Coaxium Hyperfuel, because then I don't know if you can slam. Like we're gonna get, as more things come out, new things, niche stuff, and they'll answer it later. And whether we think if one thing should be one way or the other is for us to interpret until FFG gives us the saying, and then that's kind of it until they change their mind, if they do, if enough people give them evidence to the contrary.
Cool, excellent. Let's keep the good times rolling here. So Stephen Dugood asked a second question. He said, what's the single most important tactic you employ to play mind games with your opponent? So a couple things, like I wouldn't call it mind games. I would call it more gamesmanship. But usually if I'm playing at a competitive event, I don't put my dials down until all of them are done. So the reason behind that is I don't want you to know what chips I have decided, like which one was obvious. Like if you see me go like pop, slap it down, just sometimes it just gives people a feeling on how and why you're going to do something. At League, you'll see me put them down just because it doesn't quote unquote matter, right? We're just having a good time. Some other things is if for instance okay, so you know that people sometimes watch the board, right? So let's say you're looking at the board and you want them to think you're going to do a certain maneuver. So you play, if you hear, this is definitely a mind game. You take a second and make sure that they see you, looking at this maneuver that they could just wreck you on, right? That's a bit of a gambit sometimes, but it has worked, and I've seen people do it on stream. It is definitely something I've seen deployed there. And maybe one other thing would be this one I learned from Marcel. This was which is why I no longer answer this question. We're in a situation where I have a ship that's stressed, right? And he'll ask something like, "Oh, your 2 banks are blue, right?" I'll just handle the dial now. Because your reaction sometimes gives. I mean, it's not an illegal question, right? There's nothing wrong with it, but sometimes your reaction is a tell, right? And they're just asking for information that is public information. But I think the safest thing is just to hand your dial. So there you go. Want some mind games? There's some mind games for you. Let's keep going.
All right, this one sound to me then. This is from Worms. With a U.
Sorry, I accidentally clicked to disconnect instead of the unmute.
Okay.
So I don't know if Will was talking about the next question or something on the same one.
No, I just started it. You were talking. We were talking about mind games.
Yeah. Okay. So I just had one last thing about the mind games. One that I do, and it tends to work out very well. But I don't recommend anybody else doing it because it is, it's not so cool to do sometimes. So actually, what I do is, and it does work out actually. When things don't go the way that I want them to go early on, I verbally and repeatedly get down on myself. And I'll say like, "Oh, you got this game already," and I give the appearance of checking out. And basically, what I'm doing is letting people just get into a very comfortable, like, getting into this comfort zone of like, "Oh, I got this. Okay, I got this," and they let their guard down and they start playing not as good. So I probably actually shouldn't be saying it because I do it almost at every single tournament. When things start going the wrong way, I'll start saying like, "Oh man, I lost. I shouldn't have done this," and "Oh man, this game's over." And then I even start looking away and I start just saying like, "Oh, I don't care. Just do whatever moves." And if people want to do like something, "Oh, I meant to do this," like basically I lulled them into a false sense of I gave up already, and they have the game in the game won, and before you know it, like the game flipped. Now the reason I say don't do it too much because what happens is every time that I've won after doing that, the opponent feels horrible. Because think about it, it's like you're winning and you think you have it in the bag, all of a sudden you lose. It's a terrible, terrible feeling, and it's making somebody have that terrible, terrible feeling. But again, if it's in a premier event, and it does work. People put their guard down. They think they won already. Brandon in the chat says you've been doing that for 4 years now, Marcel.
I
know, and I do it on purpose, but I never said it out loud that I do it on purpose, but I do.
This is Monday evening confessional.
Yeah, it's a way to lull people into false sense of security, and it actually. It works more often than I'd like to admit.
One real quick thing I want to have as a reminder is mind games are cool and all as long as your opponent is still setting dials. You should not be extending your planning phase just to play mind games.
No, yeah,
that
correct.
could be a feel of slow play.
Yes, absolutely. like all your dials are down and you're just like doing weird stuff at the table. Yeah, not cool. Understand the intent in which we're saying this. Yeah, don't slow play. Bad. All right, Will, for reals this time.
For reals, for worms, technically, because this question goes as follows: is the FOCHO legit, or simply a gatekeeper list? So I'm going to stop there because it goes on to ask other questions. But a gatekeeper list, for those who don't know, those are lists that will take you out of the cut, or take you out of the running for the cut, but probably won't win the tournament. Right, they're gonna take down all of the casual list, but they might not be good enough, or can be outflown, so might not win the tournament. I think FOCHO is legit. If someone could figure out a good way to fly it, I think it could be legit. It's really the only problem right now is just inconsistency. You only have single modifiers, unless you like take a target lock, then grab a focus later on. And a lot of your defensive ability is reliant on unmodified green dice. So that's probably what's keeping it from winning tournaments, more so than if it's a good squad or not. But really, yeah, I think it's legit. I think it's a good squad. I don't ever want to face it. Because it sounds awful, but I would love to fly it more. I've got a couple games in with it. It's so good. Anyways, it goes on to continue to ask more questions about a couple other hyperspace things. It says, is Republic hot garbage in hyperspace format without Delta 7B or Sinker or the arcs that are cheap or the torrents that are cheap? Blah blah blah. They're staples. I don't know. That's a really big question. Really good question for Republic players right now. I remember we were kind of struggling to in our hyperspace list episode.
Mm-hmm.
We got a couple good ones. We knew that the staples were going to be Obi-Wan and some Force users and things like that. I don't think the standard like 3 arcs and Force user is going to work with all of the low initiative blocking that's going on. It's potential. I think that there's a secret list out there outside of just like 4 I4 Jedis with calibrated laser targeting. What that is, I don't know. We'll have to find out. You guys have the best guess for Republic hyperspace outside of what we said?
The beef.
I mean, I think you start with most cases, Obi-Wan CLT, I'd be surprised if he's not in a competitive Republic hyperspace list. Like, I think he's the #1 ship you start with. Then if you want to go the beef route with mix of Wolf, Broadside, and another Archer, so a matchstick or just some beef, you can go there. I think most people are going to land on Obi CLT, Plo CLT, Rick or Broadside with ion cannon turret, and then passive sensors, proton torpedo, Anakin. Like that to me is my starting 4. Like I choose between Broadside, ion cannon, or Rick, and my 3 is always passive little Annie, proton torpedo, CLT Obi, and CLT Plo. Okay, so hot take on that: Republic can't be hot garbage. They have the Force.
Done. Period.
Yeah, passive mod, clearly.
I mean, they can't be bad. They have the Force. Will they be good? Time will tell. And then last of the trio here of questions from Worms, we have, will we see a bidding war with Initiative 5s in hyperspace? And the answer is yes. Astounding, big O, Y-E-S, yes.
Especially because no sense, right? Like that's the biggest thing, isn't it?
There's no sense. A couple of the I6s aren't available. There's a lot of things that aren't, what do I want to say? Like tractor beams mostly, but a couple other things that mess with those high initiatives as well. But especially when the I-5s are facing each other without that threat of, maybe the occasional Fenn Rau or I guess Poe Dameron. There's a couple other Darth Vader and whatnot. I guess there's actually a couple of 6s, quite a few 6s. But I think I-5 being one is going to be pretty high. I know that Boba can bid something outrageous. Like, if it's just Boba Fett, he can bid like 18 points or something crazy. And I was trying to think of the other one that had the big bid. It's slipping my mind now. But I would say
standard triple FO aces, your Von Reg, Hollow, Kylo can start pretty low.
Yeah, what was that? I haven't been looking at Von Reg, so that's not my wheelhouse.
I'm building the baseline starting point for Boba Fett. If you want to go the lowest I would ever go, Boba starts with Maul Slave 1 and Fenn doesn't need any upgrades. 34-point bid.
Yeah, that sounds about right. We don't even need that M3A.
If you ever go that low, but most likely you're throwing contraband on Boba and other stuff. But yeah, Boba Fetts are bidding against other Boba Fetts. I don't know what else they're bidding against.
Can I ask you, what's just half of Boba plus the bid in that?
Just half of Boba plus the bid. So we said 34-point bid.
Mm-hmm.
Half of Boba starts at 98, so half of him is 49 plus the bid.
So you still have almost 80 points on the board with a 1 health Boba at time.
Yep.
Sounds strong.
No. All right. Well, we don't need bids like that. You will see 10-point bids. You will see a very common 5 or 6 on 5s for sure.
While it wasn't, while it's not hyperspace legal, and we did see somebody at Las Vegas. I think had a 24-point bid for Boba.
Was that the Vader Echo?
No, that one was like 30 something.
That was 32-point bid.
Yeah, that was 32. There you go.
Really?
Yeah.
Boba Fett beats it.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, that was bidding on the Vader Echo was bidding on 4 and 6, but yeah, no, we'll see bids. It won't be the ridiculous things we're talking about. You're gonna see a lot of 5-point bids, a lot of 6-point bids. If you can get to 8 or 9, you can beat out everybody but Boba, basically.
I have a question for you guys. So with Sense being taken off the board and all this crazy bidding that's going to be happening here, do we think that Informant makes a rise? It's only for 1 ship. It's 5 points. You have to have a crew slot. So that's a lot of pieces. But it makes me peek at it and go, if you really want to see that dial and make, if you said, listen, I don't want to take a 30-something point bid. I'm exaggerating, obviously, right? But I don't want to take this huge bid. I want to spend these points. If you have a crew slot open, you throw Informant on there, and you try to make that bid not matter?
I don't. Again, I've been trying around, testing different things, and I've put Informant on stuff before. And the problem there is that it only gives you it only gives it to you on 1. So it helps out if you're if you're playing like Boba Fett, and then you're seeing Fenn, but it's too restrictive because the ship that's carrying it is the only one that can see the dial of the ship you chose, and typically, you're going to be if you're using Informant, you're going to be having multiple lower initiative ships. So I actually don't think it's that good. If anything, I think the only real solid carrier for that would probably be Nom Lumb. Again, just because of a lot of health, he's in there, and he's got other tools to kind of keep him engaged without worrying about where the other ships are. And I think they said it, and that the final was Nom Lumb, Fenn Rau, and Boba. So that would be one way to see where their Fenn Rau or their Boba is. So you're not going to fight for the initiative. You're going to put it Informant on if it fits. Find a way to make it fit. Informant on a ship like that. But I think ultimately, if you really want to move second, the best thing you can do is just get the bid. I don't think, especially because you can't spam Informant. I think Informant's unique now, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah, so you can't even spam it. If anything, I think V Marathi.
I was just looking at putting Informant on V Marathi.
Yeah, I think V Marathi is probably the one that makes sense because he's so cheap and he does his job. And then, if he dies, he dies, maybe he's 20-something points. But yeah, as far as like throwing it at something else, I don't think there's going to be a lot of that going around.
The difficulty with Informant is, unfortunately, Slave 1 exists, and it's only 1 point on Boba. So Boba kind of becomes unblockable or goes for the block and just says, cool, I have him on now. I was throwing this together randomly. I was like, hey, Blair Bunky with Tractor Beam squads seem cool. Hey, fireballs are like cheap Z95s. What if I did 6 fireballs and Pamich with Informant and Tractor Beam? That's 200 points. Block stuff with Slam.
Slam be good.
But no, basically, I think bidding is the way, unfortunately, you need to go, because the usage now, granted, it doesn't mean the usage of all dial peeking, looking legally mechanics are dull and void because of Slave 1 Boba. I just think if you're already running Boba, you probably better investing in not Informant. If you have a squad that can utilize a lot of ships that block, then we have a discussion.
Cool. Let's keep the good times rolling. We got a lot of questions to get through. All right. Go ahead, Marcel.
All right, next question. Let's pick up the pace.
All
right.
That's not to be read.
All right, this question from Robbie Hilton. It's, when you are playing aces and are facing a swarm, specifically a vulture swarm, how do you not fly into their reactive kill box? It's a good question. It's one. Well, for starters, if they're here and you're here, don't set 5 forward. Go to the sides. But really, I mean, it's really just a cat and mouse game, and you're trying to get in. Let's say you're playing against this, in Seer Swarm in Extended, or it's something else Swarm in hyperspace. Your goal is to get shot by 2 or 3 ships max at range 3 and just spread it out. As far as how do you do it and to not end up in their kill box, at some point you will. What's more important than just not ending up in their kill box, because at some point you will. With 8 ships, you will at some point have to roll some dice, is hurt them enough to where when you do end up in those scenarios, they're already hurting and they have less ships. And I think that's really the best way to do it, is just choose your battles. This is, I mean, maybe somebody else can jump in here, because I've actually never really lost against swarms with aces. Not even with the Wedge Luke one that I had. I was beating swarms with that too.
I think
mostly it's range control and choosing my battles, but I don't know how to articulate that in a way that
I think you had it right there. You have to have the tech going in. I think it depends what aces you're running. So when you had Luke Wedge, right? Mm-hmm. Like it was range control, and you had pieces that could just erase vulture droids, so that way when you're going in, their kill box is automatically smaller. And then on top of that, when you were playing your Republic list, you had pre-dial maneuverability, which gave you optimum engagements. And with any like Rick with advanced sensors and stuff, actually I'm just gonna go the complete opposite direction, right? So you had the tools there. I think it depends really which aces. I would highly suggest, if anybody has not watched the crate tape on our YouTube channel of Duncan Howard playing against Paul Heaver, you will get a lot of that information. Honestly, for for Robbie Hilton, I would just copy and paste that link as your answer, because I think you get a lot of great information from Duncan, because he was flying traditional aces versus a swarm there. He did lose the game overall, but he talks a lot about the strategy and some of the options he's got.
Yeah, I would say, and that I mean, again, I teched against those, and Duncan is more of a natural ace player, the old school ace player. So yeah, I would say, yeah, definitely look at him. All right.
Mm-hmm. And then also the Las Vegas Grand Championship, of course, Zach Bart playing aces versus Paul Olson, which was a nail biter. Watch that game.
It was, but that one, to be fair, Zach ended up exactly where this guy said he does, where Robbie said he doesn't want to end up, which is in the
put him in the box. Put him in the box.
In the reactive kill box like 3 times. So again, it worked out for Zach, but yeah, it was he was sweating. He lost a few pounds.
All righty, let's keep it rolling here. Ryan, next question.
So we got Danny Payne, question of, with the new points and pilots, do you feel like FFG is trying to get the First Order into the game? Well, they're already in the game, but also, yeah, I mean, clearly, all the points went down for the points changes. Pilots and abilities that are new in the game from the Hot Shots and Aces and Thai BA are clearly an attempt to make sure that the First Order is as competitive as they can be, but without being overly crazy. I don't think this is clearly just we're going to put them to the top and just they'll be dominant. No, like, you still have to really play them. Yeah, you can, you have to buy an 8th FO if you want to fly your maximum amount of FO fighters, but yeah, sure, they're trying to get a faction more into the game competitively. That wasn't too competitive. It's pretty easy.
All right, and the last of our Patreon questions for today. We're going to jump over to Discord here in a minute, and again, anybody who asks a question on Patreon, we're going to try to get you a written answer here. So this is from Gustavo Achila, who asked, what could FFG do to increase the player base for X-Wing? So I find this to be a really interesting question, because I think it depends on where the I think how you react to this answer is dependent on your personal view of X-Wing. So some of the things I've seen, obviously I go to events literally across the country. There is pretty strong player base in a lot of the bigger cities. You can gather a large amount of people. But a lot of the times, there is a chunk of players that you see the same people a lot of times. I've been to events from east to west coast, and you'll hear some of the same names pop up on the stream and stuff like that. So there is, sometimes I feel like there is a perception that we don't have a large player base, but I think a majority of people who buy the game are just like Star Wars fans who don't play. That's definitely something that exists. But what could FFG do specifically? I mean, anytime you can create, opportunity for new entry of players, making it as easy as possible is great. That's why Hyperspace exists a little bit, to make it a little bit easier to get into the competitive arena. Of course, having OP kits easily available for small groups, but I really think the growth of the game comes from the player base, like the existing players already, and how we represent the game. Just recently, if you were watching LVO, I had interviewed Chris Kuzmanoff, who was the guy who got me into X-Wing, who during first edition left because the game got oppressive and there was no way to really balance the game, and he just didn't like it and he's outie. But now he still sees the community is really positive. He recognizes the changes that FFG did make to make the game more flexible, the fact that it's always refreshing with points changes, and he's jumping back in, like both feet, and he dragged a couple people along with him who were, we'll call X-Wing curious. So I really think it comes more down to the local scenes and how you represent your game. And a lot of people, we've talked a little bit about how to build a community. I think that could be a whole nother episode in and of itself. But basic answer, I think it comes down to the local scene. All right, let's jump over to Discord. We got a tonnage of questions there. We're going to try to pick up the pace, give a little bit shorter answers here because we got a lot here. So I think Will was up. I'll go ahead and read the question here.
I got it pulled up.
All right, you got it.
I am ready. This is going to be rapid fire. So this is from Dr. Ham, and it says, how do each of you practice for a tournament typically? In other words, do you just play multiple games against as many lists, spend time running through openers or theory craft or tweak cards till it feels right? We've said it a bunch of times. Practice your openings. That's the most important thing. Know your openings against the 3 main archetypes. You got just thick jousters, beef. You got multiple ship swarms like vultures, and you got dodgy aces. Make sure that you have openings for each of them and at least some sort of game plan against them. As far as practice and like tweaking the list, I guess, that's interesting. I don't really, what do I want to say? Tweak a list. I'll normally keep the same archetype. Or wait, I said that wrong. I'll keep the same archetype, and then I just keep kind of switching in like different pilots until something clicks or feels right. Most of the time, though, like the list is set. I just need to practice how to fly it. And that especially if you're like net listing, if you're just taking a list, don't worry about tweaking it too much if you're just taking somebody's list. Just practice it, know the interactions, know your openings.
Fantastic. Next question here for Marcel from Caspiron X says, is Boba Fett going to dominate this hyperspace season?
Yes, not always combined Boba and Fenn, but Boba and Fenn in any combination of Boba plus something, Fenn plus something, or Boba Fenn will be the majority of the list. I think it will. Boba more than Fenn. So you might have Boba Dengar, for example, or you might have Boba and a few other things. But for the most part, I think so. Now it's going to be interesting to see if this coming weekend with the Aces pack and the new ships coming out, if they give it a run for its money. But I really don't think that there's going to be enough in there to take the title away from top list from those two carriers. I don't know what they say. What Ryan said, 34 points that they have to play with those two ships, and from the point where they're already competitive, or not already competitive, they're already dominant. So.
All right. Next question is specifically directed at me, so I'll go ahead and answer this. How much do you bench, Dion? I don't know. Though positive life choices, I actually have signed up for some personal training stuff here that starts tomorrow, so should be fun. Dion looking swole, coming soon. All right, let's keep going here. So it's Ryan who's up, and it says, Am I better?
Am I better with a Gray Squadron bomber with ion turret, or Jake as a wingman for 4 X's in hyperspace format? I'm going to say Jake. Done.
Flexibility sounds good, right?
Yep. I like his coordinating ability and, coordinate-esque ability. So, yeah, just Jake's good. Use more Jake.
I have to comment on this in the chat here. Semenik in the chat says #Gold Squadron podcast. Yeah, we'll make some exercise shirts and put them on the shop. All right, next one here from Hand of Vecna. What do you think the community at large is sleeping on? I don't think there's anything for me that specifically pops out as like there's a sleeper. I think there's some things that people know that are good. We just haven't seen them right now. So for instance, like the Initiative 1 striker spam, I think is really good, can be really dangerous. You just have to have the patience to play that many ships with that many movements for a significant round of tournaments. I think that's one of the things we haven't seen yet shine too much. And that's really the first thing that pops out to me.
I think
personally.
the M3As have been getting slept on with the
I think they're starting to get traction though. I'm starting to see that pop up.
But yeah, I think the M3As are going to catch people. Are going to shoot up.
Absolutely. All right, Will, take the next questions from the Scruffy Nerd Herder.
This is, now that we are almost a month in, what points changes are you happiest/unhappiest about? I'm gonna go with happy is. Ooh, that's a tough one, actually. I'm actually gonna go with the Bosk. They keep lowering points. I'm really happy about that. I hope he gets low enough to be actually put on the board. Unhappiest about is I'm actually going to say Darth Vader. Darth Vader could have gone up.
Easy, baby. All right, Marcel, your question here from the Angry Raisin says, as a new player, how should I practice maneuvers to avoid bumping my own ships in hectic fights?
Play with yourself. Literally, play with yourself. That's actually what I did when I first started playing, and especially when I started using large bases, when I went from small base to large base, that I sat down at the kitchen table, and I put my list, and then I put another list that I thought would beat it, and I literally just played against myself. And then I would just move the ship around. Like I would grab the ship and just move it around, and maybe, I mean, don't fire, don't shoot, don't do anything. And I was just moving around, getting used to it, because a lot of it is just it's muscle memory, and your eyes and your vision, all of that is a muscle, and it's all muscle memory of just seeing the range and seeing the distances. And muscle memory, repetition. And if you're practicing, for example, when you're practicing for, if you're a boxer and you're practicing for boxing, you're going to be hitting the punching bag, you're going to be hitting the fast, I forgot what it's called.
Fast bag.
The speed bag. No, it's a speed bag. You'll be hitting the speed bag. Same thing if you're racing against other people and you're track and field, you're going to be running on your own. So why does X-Wing have to be any different? Because you're training a muscle, especially like the distances, the ranges. You're training for a mechanic. You're not really playing against somebody else, but you're learning the mechanics and you're getting that muscle memory. So just get on the table, put two lists and play both sides of the list, and sometimes just take your list and put the rocks in weird angles and just fly around. And I know you did that too, Dion. I know you used to set up the rocks and just practice your opening engagement and practice your first 3 or 4 maneuvers to make sure that the ranges were right. Way back when. Yep,
absolutely. I still when I have time, I still like to do it as like a warm up. All right, next one here from Jedi Oswald. This is going to be for Ryan. I guess this is actually one for all of us, if we can do it quickly. It says, what is one card that each of you, so one character, that each of you would like to add to the game? Let's not go ahead and say anything about what its ability would be. Just pick something. All right, Will, go.
Sicarius Scrum.
Marcel.
What?
A character that you'd like to see in the game.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
You'd like to see me in the game?
No.
Oh, jeez.
a character from Star Wars you would like to see in the game.
Oh, Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda.
1,000,000%. I think, yeah.
Done. Ryan.
I'm going to expand on Baby Yoda. It's going to be 1 force charge, not rechargeable, because he goes to sleep.
All right, and for myself, since Ryan doubled down on Baby Yoda, let's go. Oh man, I thought Ryan was gonna say something. And I thought I had more time, so now I'm stalling.
You said rapid fire.
I know. I want Mr. Bones. Mr. Bones from the Aftermath trilogy. All right, the next question is on the poll.
Yoda too, by the way.
What?
Like we still don't have Papa Yoda. We need Papa Yoda.
Not yet, right? Not yet. Honestly, I feel like they're sitting on him because they don't know. They want it to be really good, and they just haven't decided what's good. Anyway, the next question is from Fel Septo. It says syrup or jelly. I'm assuming it's on toast. Like, I don't know. The question was syrup or jelly. Maybe I should just do it syrup or jelly with no context. But that's the poll. So jelly, I guess.
Syrup is just corn syrup.
Yeah, it's corn syrup. It's fake.
No, not
if the question is honey or jelly, like natural honey or like natural fruit jelly, then we've got a competition. But
yeah, I don't. If Fel Septo is in the chat, I don't understand your context, so I just put for toast. I don't know.
Porcano Los Dos.
Yeah, truth. All right, so next question here from Telsix says, do you think the new Thai BA is too strong? And I think that question goes to Ryan.
No, not too strong. Yes, there's some high initiative pilots that have really good abilities, but you have to build around them to some degree, especially with Hollow. For Von Reg, he cannot pass off his negative token that he takes, so you better be out of arc or not taking a lot of shots. So you have to still play smart with them. I do not think they're too strong.
Cool. Next one for me is from Wes Spawner. Says, is Empire viable in hyperspace? My local meta is really pushing resistance with ZZ and FO with either triple aces or mass FO ties, and I'm having a hard time really seeing an Imperial list competing in hyperspace with how resistance and FO are positioned. I would definitely, let's see, let me just do a quick peek here before I put my foot in my mouth, because I have an opinion and I want to double check that it's right. Okay. So for hyperspace, you still have some important pieces that are good. Obviously Vader, but he's missing a couple of tools. Strikers are still really good. I think that the Empire just needs to take a different approach to building lists than what we have seen from the Empire. I do overall, though, I think that Empire is going to be lower on the totem pole. For like Empire was, we ranked it 1-2 for like the last season. I think hyperspace wise, we're gonna see a drop for sure in the Empire. So Wes, I don't have good news for you. I have that you need to probably look at, I really like strikers. We've said that a few times. TIE Swarm, no thank you. Because you don't have, like, the whole point of the TIE Swarm was Howlrunner plus Iden and then all the shenanigans there. I think if Howlrunner had been in hyperspace, you just put the TIE Swarm on the table. But right now I'm looking at strikers. All right, Will, Lucky Oswald's question.
Lucky Oswald says, reprints have been put on for a while. What new ship would you like to see for each of the first edition factions? All right, well, we got for Scum, the Mandalorian's ship. What is it called? The Razor Crest?
Yes.
Easy, Razor Crest. For the Imperials, what is? Oh, I blanked out. What's the ship at Galaxy's Edge? Is that a first? That's
first order ship.
That's TIE Echelon.
All right. Well, I'm gonna skip that one for a bit. For Rebels, it's the Mantis from Fallen Order.
Yes,
I think that'd be very cool, especially.
Call.
Man, if that big wing could actually rotate, man,
yes,
get
please.
it spinning around. That'd be amazing. What would be a good Empire ship then that we haven't seen?
TIE Brute from Solo.
Or the V-Wing. I want to see the V-Wing.
The V-Wings Republic.
Is it though?
It is
Not really.
Republic.
No,
Hold on,
there
hold on.
is in the most
Republic
recent.
not Empire.
It is okay. So in the last canon book that I read, okay, you got Vader, Palpatine, and all that, and they have a squad of V-wings with them, okay, and they don't mention like, oh, TIE fighters are on the way. Like the V-wings are active. They are in the fray. So
The V-Wings had clone pilots for as long as I think they were in use. As soon as they moved away from the clones, even while they had transitioned to Empire, I think that's when they had TIE fighters.
well, that's I want to see. I still want to see. Well, they got somewhere both. Why not both? ¿Por qué no los dos? Huh? Okay. Next question here from Matt Man says, which is your favorite? I don't understand this. It's a picture. So obviously those of you who are listening don't understand. This is a picture of a gif of a monkeys of some
It's
type
a
of marmoset eating grapes. And they're making funny faces eating grapes. My favorite is the one eating grapes. We continue. I don't know how to answer that question. We continue. This is. I'll take this one for real. Would you? No, really? Would you? Would you rather eat a jumbo pickle from Jimmy John's or 3 earthworms?
If you're gonna end up throwing up anyway, might as well eat them both. Put the worms inside the pickle.
Wait, what's wrong with it? I've never heard of a jumbo pickle from Jimmy John's. Why is that a bad thing?
I just don't like pickles. This is a targeted attack on my taste buds. Is what this is. Okay, that's exactly what this is.
Can I modify this question?
Sure.
What would you eat, or what would you rather eat? A pickle. Wait, hold on. Let me try to phrase this.
Okay.
What food would you prefer to eat a pickle then?
So like, what bad food? Like what food I don't like?
At what point in the scale of terrible things do you choose pickle?
Man.
Like, is it beyond food? Like, is it like earthworms and like poisons and stuff?
Would you eat a actually made to be eaten bug instead of like people like buy snacks of actual bugs? They don't
Okay.
Would you eat that over a pickle?
Yes, probably. If it was crunchy. If it was crunchy, I'll take it.
Most are crunchy.
Most are crunchy, I'll take it.
Would you eat chips from 1995?
Oh, don't do
We've done that
expired
already.
stuff.
All right.
Right there.
You beat it with a stick already.
Yeah, all right. Nathan Squadron, we addressed the marmosets already. For you, I will let the video play in the background. The next question is how much next. All right. Sharky asks, what is the exact moment you ran out of content and turned to us? What? Oh, really? Really, Sharky? That's one of our guys. We were trying to do something nice. Banned.
He got you so bad.
Banned. Nice.
Guys,
Okay.
I guys gonna get the slow clap award for this episode.
Sad. Just trying to do something nice. All right. Will, how do each of you decide, or how do you decide when a list is good? I think we answered this exact question already.
The other one.
So he may have just double posted. All right. Are suicide fireballs a good idea?
If you're
This is
having
from
fun,
Wiredin.
Yeah. Yeah. Dead Man Switch, fireballs. Yeah. Sounds like a great time.
Are they good? Competitive?
Oh, no, it's not. No, will they win games? No, but it's gonna be a great time. Like, you're gonna have a lot of fun. Who knows
Fair.
what those? Oh man, that slam, that flips up a direct hit that explodes. Oh man, that's gonna be fun.
All right.
But no, not in tournaments. No.
All right, we're going to move on here to Wonder Bread. Marcel, how do you feel the change to tractor is playing out?
I think it's good. I think I don't think it's. I think it deterred it enough to not make it as abusive as it was becoming, but also it's not as bad. I actually tractored somebody today. I used tractor beam, and he used the ability to turn around and shoot me at range 1. But so that whole turning mechanic made me question if I wanted to move him or not. as part of that. So I think it adds another layer, and it makes tractor beam still good, but not as oppressive as it could be. So I think it was a good call.
Cool. And Ryan, Ryan, are 7 M3As with auto blasters going to wreck hyperspace for everyone?
I don't know. I'm not sure if I believe in 7, but I think I believe in like 4 to 5, whatever fits, plus like multiple fangs or fillers. Like Sunny or Leighton with an auto blaster is something like I probably should ignore, but it feels bad to ignore with auto blaster because I'm not getting my damage in return for going after that one seek with auto blaster. So it's gonna matter more. I don't know if it'll wreck things, especially with 7 of them. I mean, Blair Bunky did good with a lot of stuff, but that had Z95s, which were cheaper.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. Will, we'll give you the next question here from Nutano. Says, do you think Dengar will be good in hyperspace with so few I-6 pilots available?
I'm going to say that Dengar isn't an I-6 pilot, right? Like, does that make sense?
He's not an ace.
Yeah,
right?
he's not an ace. He's not the ace he used to be. Like, he's not out there dodging arcs and doing stuff like that. He wants to come up and have a good time and wants to shoot you and wants you to shoot him and all those things, right? So I don't think it's necessarily that he could fight other I-6s. I definitely think it's a benefit for him. But, I mean, you still have, like, what? Han, Von Reg, Poe, Vader, Fen Rao. Like, there's still plenty of 6s. So, no, I think his standing is equal, which is above average.
The title went down. He's 53 plus the title is what, 4 or 5 now?
No, he's above average for a large base.
Yeah,
I'll give him that.
Yeah, he's 58 points. So for 58 points, you get initiative 6 with 9 health, 2 agility that potentially can shoot twice. I think I'd say he's good. The only problem is he's not. For the additional 13 points, you're better off with Fen Rao. That's really the problem. Is for 13 points difference, you get more out of Fen Rao.
All right. I think, this next question here is actually a really, really good one. How do you balance life and X-Wing?
You marry someone who likes X-Wing too.
Okay, there's Marcel's answer. Easy. I think he has the easiest answer there. Will, we'll go with you next.
X-Wing is, for most people, it's like their escape, if you will. Most hobbies are in that way. They kind of get out of your regular life. I would say, it's not easy. I love X-Wing. But, you just got to do what you got to do in your regular life, and sometimes you get to go and hang out. I would say the biggest thing might be to, prioritize events instead of just like, day-to-day X-Wing. Go to a big event or something.
Nice. Ryan?
Yeah, it's, your life has priorities. X-Wing is obviously, in most cases, hobby, getaway, fun, however you want to put it. So find out where that is on your priority scale to everything else in your life. Everyone's life is different. There's no real true answer that any of us are going to say that's going to work for all of you. Mm-hmm. So everyone has their own situations and prioritize accordingly. But X-Wing is fun. And honestly, if you can prioritize going, like, plan in advance, go to those big events, go to have fun. Like, I don't care what it is or what level event it is. My general goal, like, I don't set myself, I just like make cut. Everything beyond that's gravy. Like, cool. If I don't make cut, whatever. I hang out with a lot of cool people. I already hang out with a lot of cool people when I'm playing anyway. So just make the best time of it you can. That way, each time you, even if limited, you go, you make the best of it.
Agreed. And then I'm gonna take it I'm gonna take the you and actually make it me, because that's a question I get pretty often. Is Dion, how does this fit into your life all the time? Like how can you be at all the things and do all that? So like I want to bounce off of what Ryan says. It's really individualized. Like I am in a perfect situation where I have a wife that really supports. Like our agreement basically when we got together was one of these things where it's like, number one, we'd never lie to each other, and number two is if you're passionate about something, go for it. Because we came from situations where our passions were not being supported, essentially. And I'm really passionate about X-Wing and all this, and I've been a person where I've always wanted to have something and just go all in, and that's what we've done now. So that agreement between me and my wife really early has been the reason why this is the way it is. And and obviously you guys only see me, but she has her own things that she's super into as well, and it works for our family at this moment, and that's how I'm able to do it. So I don't know if that helps anybody, but that's a little peek into there. And let's see. I know that we passed our time here. Let's see if we can grab a couple of really good ones here. So from Mattman7306, we're gonna go ahead and throw this out to Will. Are blank dice modifications a negative play experience? So any like modifications that modify blank dice?
So we're talking like Ray, Fearless, things like that. Ray's pilot ability,
right?
I guess their ship or gunner ability. Advanced optics is another example, I guess. I don't think they're negative play experiences. More so that they kind of curve the balance of randomness, which if random is fun to you, I could see it. I could see that. But no, they're no different than, say, like re-rolling the dice. You know what I mean? You just paid more points to modify it than, say, a focus action or taking a target lock or something.
I think,
is there blank modifiers for defense?
For defense, Ray, Lone Wolf.
Lone Wolf.
Well, those are re-rolls, not really.
But I mean, that's still a modifier.
Yeah. Dedicated.
Sarasu.
Finray.
Gas
Sarasu,
clouds.
Gas clouds.
Yeah, most of those aren't great, but I wouldn't say that they're negative play experience. I think that there should be some in the game for sure. Actually, I don't mind gas clouds anymore. The strain was enough for me. Thank you for giving it a token.
Agreed. All right. Marcel, this is from Alan C98, says, if I'm a new player getting into one faction, should I buy one of each ship in a faction or buy multiples of one ship? That's a hard question.
That's a tough question because it really depends on if you're wanting to play, what you want to play, and if you're newer, you probably don't know enough to know what you like playing. So
or even what is good, right?
Exactly. So you don't know if let's say Scum has a ton of ships, so buying one of each from the Scum is going to be different than buying one of each from a Republic. And buying, Separatists, you're just going to buy multiples because of the point cost. So my suggestion would actually be buy the core set. Start off with one faction and just a couple ships, just enough to build one or two lists. Hopefully you have a game store around, and if you don't have a game store around, jump on X-Wing Vastal and test things out. So proxy things, ask people show up, at any game store you go, they usually have a Facebook community or a community of some sort. Say, hey, I want to test these things out. Is there somebody that can let me borrow these things? And test it out for a few weeks. Jump on Vassal. Vassal, you don't need to buy anything. You can just test the ships out there and find out what you like first before you start buying either all of one or multiples of each. So and over time, that's just probably going to last you like the first 3 months, because after 3 months you're going to be hooked and you're going to buy every one of every faction, like 6 of each. But yeah, for the first 3 months, do that.
You know, I think would be a really good, which we could work on this another time. I think a really good video series would be like a starter, like building a starter set for each faction. We'll come back.
So I think different points and different. Yeah, they do different things. Yeah.
All right, cool. We'll come back to it here. Let's see. We're gonna go here. People memeing our logo, asking. Nathan Squadron says, "Why does the new logo look like a goose?" It does not look like a goose. Okay. Gosh, man. Let's see. Anything really great here? All right, here we go. Iron Donnie says, if X-Wing stopped existing tomorrow, ooh, this is a deep question, what FFG or other miniatures game would you likely move to? Or maybe just whatever. What other game would you move to?
I got an easy answer for that one.
Go for it.
And I would probably go full time. I'd probably go full time into role playing. The like tabletop, like Dungeons and Dragons, Star Wars based things like that. That's where I get the same kind of like community aspect of it, and kind of like, you know, the rolling the dice and things like that. And so I'd probably go with that full time. I'm not sure if there's a competitive game. I don't even know. Maybe you guys have ideas. I can't even think of a competitive game I would jump into.
I always like everything that I see, like, you know, when we go to the conventions, whatever they be, and they have all the really cool monsters. They look like Lord of the Rings, and they have terrain, kind of like Legion wants, you know, is trying to get to, Warhammer and all that. But then I see the people walking into this convention, and they're walking like with 30 pounds of stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to travel with that. And then I see they're spending like $3,000 and they have to paint, and so I don't actually think I have anything particular that I would jump into. If anything, possibly like a card game would be something along the, not Magic, but something along, you know, like Hearthstone Magic, or, you know, something like that, if anything. Or chess. Just go back to old school chess.
Yeah. Ryan?
Well, I just bought into Legion recently, so that.
There you go.
Roger.
For myself, honestly, I don't know. I think Dion might just disappear from games, honestly. Like, okay.
That's sad.
I'm just telling the truth. I mean, I really love X-Wing. And here's the thing. Most likely, like, I would probably just take X-Wing to the bitter end. And when I mean bitter end is, like, let's say FFG one day woke up and said, all right, X-Wing is a complete game. There definitely would still be, I think there would be enough support to, like, have a community run, like, support of X-Wing, because that existed for a long time for shoot, what is it called? There was War Machine, right? War Machine. There's this, again. This is all secondhand information. But one of my friends, Chris Kuzmanov, was saying that there was an edition that people like really didn't like for whatever reasons, I don't know. But so like the big community uprising came, and just like they supported the game themselves. And there's a couple of other quote unquote complete games that have a strong community. I would hope that being I don't want to like toot our own horn, but as like community leaders, that we could support that at least for a while, until really then if and when it actually went away, then I'd have to probably step aside for a while and then figure out what I'd do, or find my next passion project, essentially, which who knows what that would be. I have no idea. I have a lot of interests outside of gaming. You guys know I do a lot of music stuff, so yeah. All right, guys, that was a deep question. I think we're going to end right there. Just so many great questions. We'll have some more. As you can see, I'm scrolling through them. We still had a bunch from Patreon. Yeah. We'll
remember, if we didn't get to your question, it's because Dion thought it wasn't good enough to talk on stream.
False. It's because it's coming up on 11:30, and Dion's got to get to bed. So thank you everybody for watching and listening. Want to remind you guys that we're going to be live this weekend from the Texas System Open. Join us and see how this hyperspace meta develops. For everybody here at Gold Squadron Podcast, I'm Dion Morales. Gold Squadron out.